Hello everybody and welcome to another Game and Party board game review. My name is Doug Deneen. Tonight I will be reviewing Tiny Epic Tactics, the latest Tiny Epic game from Gamelyn Games. So Tiny Epic Tactics. This is the latest from Gamelyn Games. There's a lot going on here, and I've got the game set up for a two-player combative game, and I chose that because it's actually very simple then to flip this to the solo mode that I'll show you afterwards. Let's go over what we have here on the table. We have a tactics deck where every player is going to start with a tactics card. You get two and you get to choose one. So just for our examples here, I'm just going to set those up. These have a if this do that, and usually they are always beneficial to you. Every team has 4 heroes to it here. We have 4 heroes here, 4 heroes here. We have warriors, beasts, rogues, and wizards. Then everything is different. So all the different warriors, they've all got different abilities, which is pretty awesome actually. They all pretty much look like this here. This is for one of the wizards. You have the little wizard icon. Their health is on this side that you track with these nice little heart tokens here. For her, you've got magic on this side, tracked with a nice little bottle. And it tells you their speed when they do a melee attack, how much damage they do and how many dice you roll. And for her, when you do a magic attack, what the range is and what each magic symbol you roll does. They've almost all the characters have a special ability down here. In this case, it's healing. And then on the flip side of every card is a solo enemy. These are for the solo game that we'll get to after I'm done talking about the main part of the game here. The archers are very similar to the wizards, only they've got arrows instead of magic, kept track with a little green arrow piece here. And instead of magic, they have range and how much damage it does with how many dice you roll for ranged combat in addition to the melee combat. The difference here, so in melee combat, when you roll a die and it comes up with one of these symbols, oh, there we go, one of these symbols, it pushes the character back. If the character gets pushed back enough, they can be knocked off of a cliff, causing damage or something similar. It's very useful to get them out of the way, especially if you're trying to get them out of an area. For the archery here, the ranged attack, you'd roll a die. Now normally when you attack, you would move your arrow piece here down one, saying yes, I've used an arrow. You'd roll your die, and if any of them came up with another arrow symbol, it costs you a second arrow, or however many that you rolled. So those are the main hero cards there. The map itself, everyone's got 4 meeples. And they all match the symbols on the hero cards, which is very nice. Now, for this game, like I said, it's set up for a 2-player combative game here. On your turn, your team has 3 actions that you can do. And actions are actually very easy, very simple. It's either you move, you do a melee attack if you're next to somebody, or you do a ranged or magic attack. That's pretty much all you can do. Now, each character can only do 1 action in each round. If you would like to do a second action with a character, you can exhaust them. Exhausting them means they can't do anything the next round, but at the end of the next round you can remove the exhaust token. When you move around here, let's see here, for example, the beast down here, he's got 5 movement. So 1, 2, 3, 4. He can't climb up because it would cost an extra movement to climb up. So he'd be stuck there. Attacking is very simple. You say, I'm attacking you. You do the damage here. In this case, it would be 3 using the same guy. You would roll the 3 dice. And if I was actually attacking someone, I'd knock them back 2. which is nice. Now, whenever you do attack, the person you attacked can usually counterattack. Some abilities will block that. For example, hers, stun, targets of conjure birds cannot counter. So some abilities will prevent countering, but countering is a great way to do damage back to the person. If they are within range, you can then do a melee or a ranged attack also. And it doesn't count against your actions for your round. So the point of the game is area control. We have 3 different colored flags over here. We have a red, purple, and gray corresponding to different areas on the map. So whenever a main, one of the bigger flags, someone ends their turn there, or begins their turn, I'm sorry, here, it starts that, it starts the flag moving. And once it's active, based on one of these active ones here, once it's active, then anytime whoever has the most at the beginning of a turn will move that flag up. Now once it's at the second round here, let's say yellow's the one that's gotten it up there, but then green sneaks on in. At the beginning of their turn, they've got the majority in that area. They are the ones that move it up to control. They take the purple flag, and at the end it's worth 5 points. So it is an area control game. You're going to want to knock people out and get them out of the way. Now, one of the other ways to score points is to knock out your opponents, actually. So after you have completely taken away the health of one of the characters, you get that character card, and it is worth 2 points at the end of the game. That's another way that the game can end, is you just totally ransack your team and take out all their opponents. When your turn is over, you're going to draw another tactic card. You can only have 2 tactic cards at once, so if you've got more, or if you got more than that, then you'll have to discard one. Tactic cards are very useful. Some features on the board here, we have some towns. When you're in a town, you would restock all of your magic and arrows, and you'd gain 4 health. We have portals. They let you, they're all marked by these little arrows on the map here. These portals let you go in one tunnel and out another. It's an easy way to get up and down off of all the various terrains here. And that's it. That's really the game. You've got your 3 actions. You're trying to control everything and trying to knock out your opponents and not get knocked out yourself. Now for the solo mode is very similar to the 2-player combative. That's why I have it set up this way. Only in 2-player combative, we're going to make this bottom row the solo player. For a solo game, you're going to have a team on the solo enemy side. And they don't track magic or ammo. All they track is health. Now, the setup is exactly the same. However, you are not vying for area control anymore. Instead, you have, we'll use a little magic potion here, 7 turns to earn 7 crystals. Now this is where it's actually very cool in solo. I like solo a lot better. In order to get these crystals, you have to go into dungeons. And those dungeons are actually on the inside of each of these pieces. So let me get one of the larger ones. Of course, you know, I would choose the smallest one here. So this is the last final dungeon here. So in these dungeons, you enter, in this case, you would enter here, and you would move through the squares. You draw monster cards. Whenever you come across one of these, you've got traps, you've got locked doors, so you've got to make your way to the dungeon. And as soon as you hit the little treasure icon up in the corner here, you would gain that crystal. You get a one-time bonus, whatever the crystal says. Let's move these out of the way. You'd gain a one-time bonus, whatever the crystal says, and you'd flip it saying, in your control. Now the whole point of this is to get, in the solo game, the Crystal of Glory. You cannot get the Crystal of Glory until you have gotten the other 5 crystals and you flip them all to in your control. So you have to go through every dungeon, and every single one of these is its own tiny little dungeon. Now, some rules for that. You cannot enter a dungeon if there is any character on top. So if one of the opponents is on top, you can't enter that dungeon until you've knocked that person off. And once some person is in the dungeon, that's the only one in there. You can't have more than one of your characters in a dungeon. Now, at the beginning of every turn, you're going to knock your timer down by 1. So you've only got 7 turns, but the cool thing is, when you have knocked out one of the AI opponents, you actually gain 2. But you can't go higher than 7. So let's say I was on 4 and I've knocked out Prince Orn here. So I'm going to give myself 2 more time, remove Prince Orn, and I'm going to replace him with a new wizard who will then go onto a spot on the map. You use the flags here to determine where it is that they spawn. So really that is the only difference in solo mode. The little solo deck here, it gives you both monsters that you come across, and also it tells you who's moving. So for example, on their turn, I'm only going to draw 1 card. This one says the beast is moving, which is this guy, so I'm going to put it down here. Now he gets a bonus for melee of +3 damage. So he can do a lot here. So the beast, where is he at here? The beast is up here. Now they follow a set of rules. They try to do a melee attack. If they can't, they try to do a ranged or magic attack. If they can't, then they'll move. So he's going to move. He's going to move a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now, because he's not exhausted, after moving, he's going to try to attack my beast, which is the oh, I'm sorry, he can't because he doesn't have ranged. He's only got melee. So that's all this guy does. I do my stuff, I move around, I draw the next one. This one is the rogue is now activating. So the rogue gets a +3 movement. So the rogue would move around. Now up here is a direction, it's northeast, south, or west. It kind of tells you in which direction they should start moving to, and in which direction to look for enemies. If, for example, we got our fighter, so they move. Here we have our fighter again. Since my fighter is already activated, I'm going to put it on the leftmost character that has not activated yet, in which case it would be the wizard. So the wizard would then move. The beginning of the next turn, all of these get reshuffled back into the solo deck, and we just keep on playing until they have either killed off all 4 of mine, or I have gained all of the crystals, or I've run out of time, which is pretty much how I lose the game. I always run out of time. So that is Tiny Epic Tactics. So what do I think of the game? I like the game, but there's always a but there. I've played this multiplayer before, and I did not have as much fun with it as I did playing it solo. The analysis paralysis can be pretty bad because it's a tactics game. If I move here, this player could do that. If I move here, this player could do that. So I didn't like it multiplayer when I played it like that. Solo, though, is a lot of fun. It moves very quick, it moves very fast, and it really doesn't change too much. It is not going for the area control, of course, but it does let you practice tactics against what you would use against a real-life player. So that is good. I do like games like that. The dungeon exploring is really fun, actually. Trying to finagle, getting them off of those pieces so you can flip them over to use them as dungeons. And then going through the dungeon itself is a lot of fun. There's a large variety in this game. There are, every team has 4 characters, and every character has, I want to say, about 10 different cards. So there's a large possibility of never really having the same team each game, so the replayability is there. And then also the tactics portion, you never know what your opponents are going to do. There's no real cut and dry, I need to go this way in order to make that many points in this game. It is a lot of fun. I do enjoy the Tiny Epic Games series. My favorite is Tiny Epic Galaxies. I would probably put this right behind Tiny Epic Zombies in fun. The only one I haven't really liked is Tiny Epic Kingdoms. That was even their first one. So really, you know, I call that growing pains. But I do recommend this game. It is very fun. Tiny Epic Tactics.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, check out our podcast, and you can find us on all of our social media sites on gameandparty.com. See you on the next video.